Okay, so I've got Karen here with me, and Karen's just finished the 12-week Exhausted to Energized method. She's a mum of two, a part-time secondary school teacher, and you've definitely had your challenges along the way on the 12-week program, but you've seen amazing results at the end. So I wanted to find out a little bit about your journey today. Does that sound okay, Karen?
Yeah, sounds good.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for joining me. So first of all, would you mind telling us a little bit about your health challenges that you've had over the years?
Yeah, so for about 15 years now, I've had ME, chronic fatigue syndrome.
Hmm.
So I've had that obviously for a very long time now. Um, so that's meant, yeah, my energy's been very low.
Yes.
And I had to reduce from full-time work down to part-time. And then I've also had a couple of years where I've had to have time off completely.
Right.
Um, and then as part of that, developed from that, in later years, I then got diagnosed with depression and general anxiety disorder, which someone once said you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm.
So it was sort of following on from that. Um, and then the anxiety with what I could and couldn't do and cope with, particularly after I had my first son, sort of built up from there into a much bigger general problem.
Yeah. And so what was your health challenges other than fatigue, which sounds like it was the biggest problem? Did you
Yeah.
have any other problems that came with the ME?
Yeah, it fluctuates, it comes and goes, but generally they talk about brain fog, so you can't think things through clearly. Um, Short-term memory very poor, concentration very poor.
Yeah.
So my general state of my mind wasn't good.
Mm.
And then you get a lot of sort of aches and pains with it.
Right.
So my hands are always the first to go.
Okay.
Um, so my hands will, like in the mornings, they'll be really tight. I won't be able to, I'll be clenching and I'm releasing them.
Right.
Um, and then it goes to other parts of my body, but it's not a specific pain, like a joint pain. It's just
Yeah.
things will ache, feel very heavy.
Mm.
Particularly when I wake up in the morning, my whole body feels very, very heavy. And it's that sort of overall aching rather than a specific pain.
Yeah. And then so if you've been feeling like that for 15 years, I'm sure you've tried different things over the years to like try and overcome those health challenges. So tell us a little bit about what you've tried.
Yeah, initially, not a lot. I was kind of told, well, this is something you just have to put up with. It's not as worse.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but then with the depression, I got put on antidepressants because that's an easy thing for doctors to give you.
Yeah.
They've definitely helped, although they come with side effects.
Mm.
But they've definitely helped. And I've had cognitive behavior therapy,
Mm.
mainly focused on the anxiety because that actually became a bigger issue than the depression.
Yeah.
And again, that helped, but it helped sort of those specific bits.
Yeah.
Um, and then other things, medically, there wasn't really much support for the ME.
Okay.
And when you research things, there are so many different options that help different people.
Mm.
Some things help some people. There doesn't seem to be much consistency in it.
Got it.
It's knowing, where to go and what to try. So I tried things, but in little bits. So I tried a bit of yoga. It's trying to find a yoga that I could actually manage
Mm-hmm.
without the yoga actually being too much.
Yes.
The biggest thing I tried, which helped the most, was a couple of years ago. I went gluten free,
Mm-hmm.
and that had a big difference.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I mean, it was very gradual and slow, but I noticed when we were on holiday on one occasion what I was able to do on holiday compared to a previous holiday. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this really has, I'm
Mm.
able to walk further, join in more. So that made a difference. But then otherwise, there isn't really specific things to do.
Yeah.
So more recently, I've seen a private doctor who specialised in this area.
Yeah.
And he's put me on various supplements.
Mm.
But again, it's still, even with a specialist doctor, it's still very much, well, we don't know what's going to help you.
Yes.
This has helped people in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried various supplements and nothing's made a big difference. There's been small changes you can see,
Yeah.
but nothing's made a big difference.
Yeah. So you must have felt like quite deflated by that point, feeling
Oh
like
yeah,
nothing was
regularly
going to
do.
work.
Yeah, regularly do. And it kind of goes up and down. The symptoms fluctuate in their intensity. So you have periods where you don't feel so bad,
Yeah,
but then you go back to it again. Um, and so it is that kind of ongoing, and you just get to that point where you go, are you ever going to reach a point where you lift up and don't crash back down
yeah,
again
yeah,
afterwards? And you can't always tell why you've lifted up. So it's not that you can say, oh, well, I've lifted up because of this.
yes,
It just seems to cycle with no real pattern that I've been able to discern.
yeah. And then, so why was you like open-minded to try something new, or why did you want to try something new?
Um, Various things had been popping up about diet on my news feeds and things, like
Okay.
on Facebook and things. And I think that was more age related. I think people, however they work these adverts out, was being
Yeah,
targeted at my age and hormones. But that's what got me thinking about, I guess, diet things.
yeah,
Um, and So I looked at a few, there's so many programs out there. I looked at a few, but they just didn't feel right. They just didn't fit right. There was no real scientific reason for it.
okay.
Um, and so yours was one of the ones that randomly popped up
Hmm.
in amongst everything else. Um, so I looked at some of your things for a while and then tried the 5-day challenge
That's
in the
right.
new year. So I went, just 5 days. Let's just try some of these things.
Yeah,
And I didn't try all the things because some of them didn't fit for me. But I
yeah,
tried some things and thought, oh, I didn't feel amazing, but it was just, there was something just felt right about some of the things you were saying,
yeah,
that it just gave me, I don't know, some sort of gut feeling, I guess, that went, this might be for me, this might help, and I need to try something else. And
yeah,
because going gluten free obviously had changed my diet, and I
yeah.
knew that had helped, then I was sort of a step there in the sense of, well, let's see if I can try more things with my diet.
Mm,
But I knew I needed someone to guide me through that process.
yeah,
I knew I needed sort of hand holding and going through that process
yes,
slowly, because yes, you can look up on the internet and it says, yeah, you eat more of this and eat less of this, but it's too big. And I didn't know where to start or what to do, and it was just too big and too difficult. So therefore I never did it
yes.
and carried on eating the food that I was comfortable eating, which wasn't an awful diet. But yeah, could definitely be improved a lot.
Yeah. And then, so at that point, when you was considering like joining the course, did you have any reservations, like it might not work for you, or you was worried about spending money, or trying new foods, or any reservations at all?
Yeah, plenty.
What were your
um,
reservations?
um, because I've had ME for so long,
Yeah,
like, really, is this going to make any difference?
yeah,
It's great, you're talking about improving people's energy, but this is what I classify as sort of normal, healthy people who just need a help with their
yes,
energy.
yeah.
Because I've sort of been diagnosed with something which gives me low energy, well, is that going to make any difference for me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, my ability to stick to it,
Yeah.
um, for 12 weeks, um, my ability to try new foods and different things. I'm a fussy eater.
Hmm.
So trying new things and new foods and eating differently, I wasn't sure how I was going to go on that. But again, I went back to the fact, yes, but you did this when you went gluten free.
Yeah.
It took a while. You had to get yourself into it gradually. I didn't just go gluten free overnight. It was a slow build up to decreasing the amount of gluten and finding other products.
Yes.
Um, but I was like, well, you have done that. And that was just looking at one aspect. And, I really want this. I really want to be
Yeah.
able to increase my energy. Um, and so it was just like, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yes.
I've got to try it. It sounded good and it just felt right.
Good.
Was the best I can describe of, yeah, this just feels right. This is what I think I need to do. And let's try it.
Yeah. So you decided to take that leap, and then tell us what happened inside the program.
So the first week I was quite positive because it was just to do with hydrating, and I didn't have lots of the dehydrating things. So I very rarely drink alcohol because it just wipes me out.
Yeah.
I don't drink caffeine drinks, not because I've been good, but just because I don't like them. So
Okay.
I don't drink tea and coffee anyway. which was two of the big things to try and reduce first week.
Yes.
So my biggest challenge the first week was increase your water. And I didn't really like drinking water.
I remember.
I like drinking, I'd have orange squash. I was like, well, at least that way I'm getting the liquid into me. So that was my biggest challenge. And I only increased it a little bit to start with, it was a small steps, but I did get on to drinking water. So I was doing sort of half of the time I was drinking water and then still having some orange squash. So I was kind of doing it gradually.
Yeah.
And it was the fact that you were like, you didn't go, well, no, you've got to cut out the orange squash. You were like, oh, that's great. It's an improvement. So it was that initial encouragement of, okay, there's nothing wonderful happening here. I haven't made a big change, but I've made a change.
Yes.
And then you recognize that as a positive, whereas I was sort of probably more focusing on what I hadn't managed to do.
Yeah, which is really common.
Yeah. And then from there, so I guess that was a good start in terms of getting through that first week. And then it was sort of having it week by week really helped sort of break it up. So I could say, okay, this is what I've got to do this week. And it's a little bit. I still found it overwhelming at times. I'd have to sort of read it slowly, listen to your short video clips, and then go away and think about it a bit, let it just sort of sink in, then go back and read the notes, then make my own notes and work out, okay, what am I going to do? I was very much a slow starter on every week.
Yeah, very methodical though. You worked very methodically. It was good.
Yeah, so I sat down when the things came out on Friday, I'd listen to the video, then some point on Saturday, I'd make time to sit down and go through the notes.
Yeah.
So that by the time I got on the call on Sunday morning, I'd be like, okay, these are my questions, but this is what I think I can manage, and this is what I think I can try. I was very aware that I was taking what I'd call probably the easier route of some of the options. But at least I was trying something.
Exactly.
And so it was that real gradual build up, and not feeling I had to do everything all at once, but that I could just gradually add little bits in.
Yeah. And sometimes when people come into the program, their progress, and it's not all the time, but their progress is just like that. They come in and they start getting their energy back week upon week, and it's all fantastic and they all find it easy. And there was a couple of people who was doing that when you was on the course, but you was more up and down, which is really to be expected and is really to be normal, is really normal. So tell us a little bit about that journey. I know that you wasn't seeing the progress at the beginning. So how did you stick to things?
No, I found it very hard at the beginning, that particularly because there was, someone else who was definitely seeing the benefits from week one.
Yeah.
She was feeling the benefits straight away, which was fantastic. And the first couple of weeks, I was really pleased for us, was really positive, really encouraging.
Yeah.
Then, about the third week, I'm like, yeah, but I'm still feeling nothing.
Yes.
But I really wasn't feeling any improvement to start with. And that actually kind of really got me down at that point.
I remember.
Really down. But the key thing for me was your encouragement, and the fact that you'd said right at the beginning, just show up. Doesn't matter if you've had a week where you've done nothing whatsoever, just show up on the call. So that week when I showed up on the call, it wasn't that I'd done nothing, it was just I felt bad for being so negative about it all, I guess. My mindset was not in a good place at all.
No.
And I kind of felt a bit bad coming on and being really negative when everyone else was being really positive about how wonderful this was, and I was there going, not for me, it's not. But you said show up, so I showed up, and that was probably the turning point for me.
It was, yeah.
In the sense of, you said show up, and that was definitely my lowest point as well. So it was like, well, after that, if I can show up when I'm at this point, I've got no excuse for not showing up any other week.
Yes, exactly.
And having those accountability type calls every single week and checking in with you every week made huge difference. And also, even though my progress was much, much slower, well, non-existent to start with, and then much, much slower, it's only really the last few weeks where I've really started to feel it. So I have gone along a much more level and then up at the end. But it was more the encouragement that, I'm still not getting anywhere. And you're like, yes, you are, because you've done this and you've done this and you've done this and you've done this. And I'd go, oh yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, I am doing quite a lot. Whereas I was just looking at what I wasn't doing.
Yes.
And that was, yeah, for me, those weekly calls and the check-ins midweek just meant I was going, okay, yeah, I can say I've done this, and it made me focus on the positive. What am
Yeah.
I doing? What have I done? I am moving forward, and I've just got to accept that with my health, okay, it's taken me a bit longer,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
And I've started this, so I need to just keep going and finish it.
Yes.
There's
And
no
you
point stopping now.
and you have finished it. And by the end of, so this morning when we done our accountability call, you shared amazing results with us, didn't you? So tell us about your energy now compared to where it was when you first started.
Oh, so when I started and we ranked them on a 10-point scale,
Yeah.
most of my scores for each category were sort of down at 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Whereas now they're all over 5. And a lot of them are up at sort of 7.
Yes.
A lot of mine have sort of doubled from where they were.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting, redoing that and looking back on where was I, and where am I now? And wow, I really have improved. And not just in my energy, in my mental state as well.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely.
my whole person has changed. So it's way more than just my energy. I have lots more energy.
Yeah.
I am able to do lots more with the boys. I'm able, since we've been in lockdown and we've been doing our daily exercise, I've been going out on maybe 3-kilometre-ish cycle rides with my younger son,
Amazing.
which, I couldn't have done 12 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No way. And not only that, not only am I managing to do them, but I'm not coming home and then collapsing in a heap afterwards, which before I might have done something or pushed myself a bit harder, but then when I got home, I'd have really paid for it.
Yeah.
Whereas now I've done a couple of cycles with him this week, and I've done a couple of cycles. I felt I've done them,
Yeah.
my body, which is good because I've done exercise, but not in a negative sort of falling apart sort of way afterwards.
Yeah.
I've been able to do loads more activities with them, particularly this week being on school holidays. We've put tents up inside and made a campfire and had sleep outs in the lounge. I've cleaned down and painted the wooden swing set in the garden, like just things which weren't manageable before, both mentally and physically. Like I'd have thought, oh, that swing could do with cleaning. Well,
Yeah.
we've been doing that for a few years, but
Yeah.
but I've gone ahead and just done it, and I've also done it on my own without having to look to my husband for mental support. Like at one point, I'd be, well, should I do this? What do you think? Do you think I can manage this? Whereas I just did it. Like I didn't even discuss it with him. I just did it, which is what I used to be very, very independent.
Yes.
And so to actually gain some confidence back that, yes, you can do this and you can clean it and you can paint it. And the only bit you need him to do is the bit where I needed some bits tightening and I'm just not strong enough to tighten them.
Yeah.
But it was purely a practical, oh, can you do this bit for me? Because I can't. And then I got on and I painted the whole swing set in a day, double coat with help from my sons.
Yeah.
And I just did it.
Oh,
And yeah, I was tired at the end of the day, but so would anybody be.
Yes. Yeah, my husband done the patio yesterday, jet washed it, and he was tired at the end of the day, so that is normal.
Yeah.
That's just so good to hear. And I think that's what most people want. So when I talk to women on the phone and I go, what is it you want? Most people just want the simple things. I want to be able to play with my children more. I want a little bit of motivation. Mums will frequently say to just clean the house, just do the stuff that it needs doing. And we're not looking necessarily to take over the world, to have the energy to take over the world. It's just to do the simple family things, the normal things, isn't it? That's what you want.
Yeah.
And you shared with us earlier on in our call that you're not having an afternoon slump now. So tell us a little bit about that.
No, I regularly used to, on my work days, so I only work 2 days a week, because that's where I found the balance of what I can cope with at the moment.
Yeah.
I would work 2 days a week, and those evenings, there was no point asking me to do anything.
Yeah.
And then on my 3 non-work days, I'd normally have something in the day to do, but I'd quite often sit around doing nothing, not because I'd chosen to have time out, but I would just sit on the sofa and do nothing.
Yeah.
I would quite often fall asleep on the sofas, particularly in the afternoon. It wasn't a daily event, but it happened regularly. I'd have to quite often set my alarm on my phone to make sure I was awake to go and pick the kids up from school. And when we got back from school, you know, that sort of 4 o'clock time of day, I would just really dip. I could do nothing with them after school.
Mm,
You know, some days I'd fall asleep even when they were home.
yeah.
Um, Other times, you know, I'd do very little, but I'd manage to get tea.
Yeah.
Um, but dinner during the week was always something really simple because I didn't have the energy to do anything else.
Yes.
Um, and some days I wouldn't even manage to get tea, and my husband would get home from work, and I'd be like, "Oh, is it that time already?
Yeah.
I haven't even fed the boys." Like the time would just pass.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're
Now
not
I
feeling
can't
like,
compare to that because we're in lockdown. I can't compare to
yeah.
exactly what that's like at the moment because I haven't been at school for the last 4 weeks. But I'm certainly not getting the afternoon slumps anymore.
Good.
I'm making it through the whole day without feeling. I mean, I'll have rests, but that's because I've chosen to sit down and have a rest and some time to myself, a break, rather than because it's just happened and I'm just sat there doing nothing.
Yeah, yeah, you said that
Um,
this morning. It's a lot more mindful for you now
yeah,
to be like, yeah,
yeah,
you're enjoying it rather than just like mindfully scrolling through social media or whatever
yeah,
it may be.
yeah. So when I'm on my phone, I know I'm on my phone and I've chosen to be on it
Yes,
rather than just I'm on it because I'm sat in my chair and it's there and I can't be bothered doing anything else.
yes.
Um, and I'm spending a lot less time on it um, because I've got more energy to do more things.
Yay, that's amazing.
So yeah, that's a bonus as well. Um, but yeah, it's definitely I'm not slumping during the day at all. Um,
Brilliant.
and even most evenings, I'm fine. Um, you know, I'm not going to bed late, but I've never been one for going to bed that late because I'd fall asleep. Um, but I've my evenings have I've been able to still do things in the evening, which in the past evenings were a write-off.
Did you think that was possible 12 weeks ago, that you'd feel like this in 12 weeks?
No, if you'd asked me 12 weeks ago, would I have been out there yesterday painting the swing set? I would have laughed.
Mm,
I would have hoped for an improvement.
yeah,
You know, I did go in with, you made us write out a mantra at the beginning,
yeah,
which I stuck on my mirror and I still got there.
good.
Um, and it is that, you know, I can do this.
Yes, you
This
can.
can make a
Yes.
difference. But I don't think I ever hoped that I would be as far through as I am now.
Yeah, after 15 years of feeling so tired.
Yeah.
Mm,
So yeah, it was painting the swing set yesterday, which just really brought it home to me that I didn't just do one coat, I did the double coat,
yes.
and it's just the fact that I managed that and was so independent in doing it as well from my
Mhm.
mental health point of view. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just blown me away.
amazing.
Absolutely blown me away.
And you talk about food. So when I said, do you get your afternoon sleep? You were saying you used to prepare really sort of quick or easy food for the boys. You said earlier that you're a fussy eater, and your transformation with food has been amazing. So you bought a juicer in the last week, haven't you?
I'm juicing now. And I liked orange juice, but I'd buy it from the shops.
Yeah,
Um, and I like fruit, but most of the time I couldn't bother eating it. It was too
yeah.
difficult. Um, and or I'd buy fruit and it would just sit on the dish.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas with the juice in it, yeah, I love it. Um, and I'm juicing things. I haven't gone totally exotic yet, but I'm putting celery in my juice, which would never have crossed my mind.
Yeah,
So I'm doing a fruit veg mix. So I haven't managed a completely veg
yeah,
one. Um, I'm starting to put some green things into it. I haven't quite got to the spinach, kale, leafy stage yet.
yeah.
But whilst I'm not there yet, it's not, oh, I'm never going to do that.
Hmm.
It's just, okay, well, we'll slowly build our way towards those things, get into the habit of juicing, then we'll gradually, I'm getting better at experimenting.
Yes.
We've put in different things, and I had some raspberries in the fridge. I went, oh, wonder what they'll be like. I threw them in the juice today.
Brilliant.
I went, oh, you don't get much juice out of raspberries, actually.
No, they're better in a smoothie.
Yeah, but I was just like, oh, well, that's what I've now found out. I'll stick to putting them on my breakfast instead of putting them in my juice.
Yeah,
But I'm much more willing to try things out, and if it doesn't work, well, never mind.
yeah,
I'll try something different, which
yeah.
again is a whole new sort of mindset.
And talking of breakfast, you're making your own breakfast now, and like you're adding fruit to it, like you say. You mentioned earlier that you're growing your own cress, so you're doing so many new things with food, aren't you?
Yeah, so breakfast, I love my new granola. Um, make that quite happily. Get that in, make it up, and I'm making a big batch. It lasts more than a week now.
Yeah,
And I'm also finding that I'm not needing to snack during
brilliant.
the morning.
Mm,
That's obviously filling me up better. I'm having quite a big portion of
yeah,
it. And I'm having it with Greek yogurt. And then, yeah, sometimes I'm putting like the raspberries onto it. But I'm finding that I get to lunchtime and I've not thought about having a snack.
so good.
And then because I'm having the bigger lunch as well now, so I'm eating a bigger meal at lunchtime.
Yes.
Then I'm quite often if I have a snack in the afternoon, it's because I fancy something rather
Yeah.
than because I need something.
Yeah. Brilliant. So you don't need those foods to keep picking you up all the time.
No, I'm just having something. So I'm like, oh, I just fancy a bit of a something. But then I'm also making better choices on what it is I eat.
Yeah. You're not
And a
craving.
bit of a tidy up. I found there's food in the cupboard now, which I'm like, how is that still there? Like sweet
Okay,
food,
great.
sugary food.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way that would have lasted that long because I'm just not going to it. Whereas before I'd have just gone to it
Yes.
until it was all gone.
Yeah.
And now I'm just not.
Brilliant.
My big revelation was when my husband brought home some really nice chocolate ice cream and gave himself some and my son some. And I said, no, thank you. I was like, oh, how did that just happen? I'll just have a little bit off the end of a spoon, just the taste, because it tastes nice.
Yeah.
That was it. That was all I had. And that was just a real sort of wow moment that I said no to chocolate ice cream. A bit of a worry, really.
I remember I gave you a standing ovation that week and was like, yes, it's amazing. So just like last couple of questions to wrap up, Karen. I know that you invested quite a lot in this private doctor before, and then obviously it's like spending more money on another thing. So how did you kind of like come to terms with or decide to invest in yourself again with something you didn't know whether it was going to work or not?
Partly nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
Partly, as I said before, because I'd done the gluten-free bit and I knew that had made a big difference. That's probably the most significant thing I had done for my health.
Yeah.
That I think the whole diet thing, I knew I needed to change my food further.
Yes.
I had the feeling that that would make a difference. I knew that I needed guidance to do it.
Yes.
So I think that was what sort of convinced me.
Yeah.
I then also had to convince my husband.
Yeah, that's a thing a lot of the time. So tell us about that then.
So that took a bit more work.
Yeah.
He's very, very supportive in terms of he has no problem with spending the money if he thinks it's going to help improve my health. Although he has said that he's seen the improvement and I've now become more annoying again. So he's not quite sick. But indirectly, he sees it as a good thing. So I've got more energy to be annoying with. But yeah, so I know he did a lot more research into the whole program, I guess, and things behind it. He agreed to it, but was still skeptical at the start.
Yeah.
But now he's saying, oh, he's now a couple of weeks ago, and he's not big on compliments, but a couple of weeks ago he said, oh, well, actually, I think this is better money than the doctor, or better value for money. And that, for him to sort of admit that, when he much more goes down the traditional doctor route rather than this sort of route, is really big. And he's just hasn't even questioned. I've gone, I'd quite like to keep working with Hannah and keep having that support going forward. He's gone, yeah, no problem. Like there's been no hesitation there at all.
So good. So are you pleased that you invested, pleased that you decided to do this? And it's not just investing in a good program, you've actually done the work yourself as well. So overall, was it a good step for you, and are you pleased you did this?
Amazing, absolutely amazing, best thing ever. Yes, I've done the work, but only because I've been supported by you.
Oh,
so it's your support that has kept me going and got me there. There's no way I could have done it otherwise. you know, I knew eating more fruit and veg was good for me.
Yeah,
You know, most people know that.
exactly. Yeah.
You know, that's not, you know, there's some things, you know, there's a lot of things you've taught me that I didn't know before.
Yeah.
But, you know, things like that I knew. And I ate veg. But yeah, it's the ways and everything that taking me through that has enabled me to do it,
Yeah.
which I know I wouldn't have managed otherwise.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and can't wait to carry on working with you and see more progress for you.
Yes, me too. Who
Oh,
knows where I can go?
exactly. All right. See you, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.